answers, questions. Shai, I got a question.
Okay, yeah, I do. So, if an angel just takes instructions from God, just has one thing to do, why would they care who gets the Torah? They don't have free will. They don't have choice. They don't have decisions to make. Why would they care?
It's a great question. Angels, just like Michelle was saying, angels, I'm going to stand with the R, because I even hate saying the word angels, because you have the picture of the guys on your shoulders, you know, it's so weird. What did I say? Wait. Yeah, angels are spiritual forces that God created in the world, okay? We say angels have one leg, but we pray, and we put our legs together. Why do we do that? Because we're like angels at that point. Angels, we human beings move forward. Right, with 2 legs, we grow. Angels don't grow. They're stationary. They have one job in the world, and they're like forces of nature. They're just laws. They're spiritual forces. So Shell is asking if they're spiritual forces, who the heck asked them what they think? Why are they giving their opinions here? Good question. Yeah.
So we sort of thought that it was odd, going back to your description of the Bunsen burner and the instruction manual. If the Torah is supposed to be the instruction manual, and it says here that the coveted and treasured Torah that was stored with you before the world was created, why would there be an instruction manual for something before the instrument that it's supposed to be the instruction manual for?
Right, because it was even created. Fantastic. Beautiful. Why is the Torah? The Torah is created before, but there's no reality yet. Why are we having an instruction book? Charlotte.
We took that into the other way.
Okay, let's hear.
If this was happening to Shmuel, Moshe is up on the wall, he's getting the Torah.
Right.
The Torah goes through the steps. So he's getting the whole thing. He knows it's not created across the Jordan. And again, he gets what we need. The end of it, he asked me, please, like all these things are happening. So 2 questions is, he knows what's going to happen. What is the next? The second one.
Okay, that's a great question. Let me explain Charles' question. And this, I taught this to rabbis who did not know how to answer this question for years. This is a very fundamental question. What did we get with the Torah? What were we given? What did Moshe get at Mount Sinai? Moshe was given the 5 books of Moses. Okay, and the end of the book it says, and Moses hits the rock. So like hopefully he read to the end, like, you know, he's about to hit it. Did not do that. I read the end of this book, you know. So what did Moshe get on Mount Sinai? Because he couldn't have gotten the 5 books as they are, because then he wouldn't have done what he did. I'm going to answer this one quickly on the side, because otherwise it's a very deep question. What did he got at Mount Sinai? So I'm going to answer this quickly. On Mount Sinai, Moses got the Torah only from Breshit to where he was in Shmos. He did not get the 5 books as they were. What he did get was, here's the point, the deeper, the meaning, the commandments, all 13 commandments, which then God gave over later in the form of the 5 books. And that's going to be a clue to what we're going to talk about. In other words, the whole 13 commandments he got, and all their meanings. And then, for example, as a commandment, you can't be haughty. So there's a guy named Korach, who's very haughty. So the laws of being haughty are now translated into the story of Korach. But really they existed even before as the laws of how you have to live your life. And that Moshe got, he didn't get the stories, he got the meanings of the stories. And that's going to be half of our answers. A great question.
So who wrote them?
What?
Who wrote them down?
Very good. So I'm going to answer very good. So the way it works like this, and I'm so glad you asked this, because people don't realize this and it's fundamental. At Mount Sinai, again, God gave Moses the 13 commandments, all their meanings, and the 5 books written from the first book until where they were. Okay? Then Moshe comes down from the mountain. He teaches the Jews all the 613 commandments, and then God says to Moses in the Ohel Moed, in the temple, in the tent of meeting, right? The Mishkan, the tabernacle. He repeats to Moses the parts to write down of the Torah. And that's why when you look at the Sefer Torah, you'll see there are spaces in between the Sefer Torah. If you look at the Sefer Torah, there are like, all of a sudden you'll have a part, let's say, Vayomer Hashem, and then there'll be a space. And they'll say, Daber, another space. What's this space doing? That space represents the end of the communication between God and Moses at that point. In other words, in the tabernacle, God would say, okay, now write this part down. He'd communicate this lesson, which Moshe had already learned, the 30 commandments. He teaches them this lesson. Moshe writes that down, and that's gathered now. And he has all of these texts, which he has now, which he gives the Jews as they're in the desert, but at the end, it's all compiled into the 5 books. So what they got at Mount Sinai is all the commandments, all their meanings, but the stories of the rest of the 5 books, that's being dictated by God to Moses throughout the time in the desert. Okay? It's very, very important from Steve.
Also, I think it exhibits the kindness of Hashem and I guess, for us to envision it ourselves is very difficult, but if you thought that you were before the most all-powerful of all things, and you were instructed by that thing, you would never exhibit doubt. And God is allowing Moses to exhibit doubt by saying, put your hand on my thumb. You know what I mean? In other words, he doubted, in effect, did doubt by saying, what if the angels...
Fantastic. Beautiful. I'm going to translate Steve's question. What is Moses saying then? Moses is saying, I'm afraid they're going to burn me up with their fiery breath. I mean, God tells you, give an answer. Give an answer. Stand up. And Moses says, get up and speak, you speak. But I'm afraid. When you're afraid, get up and go do it. God says, give an answer. I'm afraid. I don't know, God. That's a good idea. Those angels are really tough. I don't know. Okay, hold on my throne. What's Moses doing? Good question. How?
What's meant by hold on to my throne?
That's very good.
To have somebody physical touching what?
Well, what the heck does that mean? Think about it. It sounds like kryptonite or something, The anti-kryptonite, I must hold the throne. It sounds bizarre. It makes no sense. Right? Moses, I'm afraid. Hold on to the throne and you'll answer. That doesn't make any sense. It sounds bizarre.
Maybe it means to hold on to the idea, not to the
Very good. We have to see we have to see what does the throne represent? What's the idea Moses is holding on to? Lenny, you're on the ball. Exactly right. So what are the questions we got? More questions. So we have the question, why is the Torah before the world is created? We have what are the angels doing? We have what is given over in the Torah? We have what's Moses having. What are the questions we got? Rachel.
Why does it seem like the angels are always competing with mankind? Because it's like a reoccurring theme. Even like during Bereshit, when God is thinking about creating mankind, the angels are like kind of hesitant about the whole idea anyway. So why are the angels constantly in competition?
Okay. So I'm gonna answer this also quickly. Also, that's Billy Shell's question also. And this is a very bizarre way to explain it, but the Maharal Mi'Prague, great Kabbalist philosopher, says that when this conversation happens or not, it's irrelevant. He says that it's not a question of the angels talking to Moses. It's a question of what should be. There are certain claims the angels have in the world, they have rights to make, and there's certain claims that man has in the world. And the question of whether the discussion happens or not is not the point. The point is the angels are saying we should have the Torah. It's a claim we deserve the Torah. Whether they make it or not is not even the point. But in a rational sense, they believe the Torah should be theirs, and mankind, God believes the Torah should be ours, and Moshe is stuck in the middle, and Moshe has to answer. So it's a very good question, but I think the answer to your question, Rachel, is that the angels and us represent who's primary. Who's primary in the world? Are we more important? Are the angels more important? Who's central in the world?